Okay, welcome back to the channel, Hobby One Kenobi. I'm Jason, nice to see you. I wanted to take a moment to kind of catch you up on where we're at today with the SA-9 Gaskin by Cyber-Hobby. This was a Dragon kit, a DML kit, and has actually been quite a good kit at this point. However, as good as a kit is, it's still going to have things that you can improve. And what I typically like to improve are things that, when it comes as plastic, is just too thick. It doesn't have the right scale, or the manufacturer has like simplified some piece of detail for many reasons. I can imagine one reason is it's just difficult to create something using polystyrene in a cast setting. So what I like to do is I like to replicate those pieces that were simplified and use Plastruct or evergreen plastic to update it. So what I wanted to do here is, you can see I've got the vehicle, the main body of the vehicle, and I just kind of wanted to show you some of the things, and I'm going to supplement with some pictures of the actual vehicle and some more detailed pictures so you can see what I've actually adjusted. But let's take a look here. First thing I'd like to point out was I updated the exhausts here. So let me give you an example of how it originally looked. This is, here we go. This was how it originally looked. And there should be a tank underneath, and then this top section is ostensibly a guard. And then we have a tube that goes to the vehicle, and then this is another guard on top. And then what sticks out here is the rest of the exhaust. This just didn't look right. It was basically one solid piece where there should be about 5 rather separate pieces. So I emulated that by, let's see if we can get nice and close here. All right, give me 1 second here to go to focus. All right. So you can see here, I have the exhaust cover. On the inside, I actually have the tank. Okay. And you can also see I have the proper look of the pipe here, as well as the appropriate 5 holes on this top side and 5 on the other. This was a thin piece of plastic, and I used some wire, not wires, mesh, basically mesh, and cut it up and made it look like the ribbing should look like on the top of the exhaust shroud, essentially. The pipe goes from the exhaust to the vehicle, and then there's this sort of cap looking, and then of course this shroud on top. When comparing with the real vehicle, it should have 2 what will look like lightning holes, or lightning holes along the front here. I decided not to depict those. It was just going to be too much of an issue for me. So, but yeah, overall, it's much more accurate than what was provided in the kit. As you can see here, I've also added some clamps for the rocket launchers that are attached to the side of the vehicle. These look a lot more accurate to what was provided in the kit. Okay, then we can see here, this is, I believe, a spool, and there's another cover for the spool, and this was not provided in the kit, so I added that, just a thin piece of plastic. Alright, so moving along here to the front of the vehicle. This door, this hatch or opening of some sort, was actually in the center of the vehicle, and I've scoured the internet and I could not find any photos of it being directly in the center. So I removed it and added a completely new one on the side. If you'll notice in the photos of the actual vehicle, there should be several bolts, 4 on each side. I'm going to add those on shortly here. Next, This entire hatch here was also not depicted on the kit, so I went ahead and added that as well. You can see the antenna has been completely rebuilt. Okay, now back to the front of the vehicle. So the light guards have been made out of plastic and then little pieces of brass rod. And I completely rebuilt these covers for the lamps. What they provided in the kit were just simply the wrong shape. And the lights themselves were actually set too far apart. As you can see here, this is what they were trying to depict in the vehicle, but these are too far apart. They should be much closer together, as I've done here, and then created the correct shape of the cover. You can see the difference between the two here. Very different. And then there's a nice little weld seam going across, and then a couple of bolts along the bottom. So that does it for the vehicle body. This top section is going to set up here, and as you can see what I've done, as I talked about in one of my earlier videos, I had to rebuild where these periscopes are. They basically left off this entire top section of these little spaces for the periscopes. When I get a moment, I'm going to take some clear plastic and actually depict the periscopes themselves. Alright, and then I added some bolts, and then I rebuilt the this pulley system that they have here. And I used very thin sprue, stretch sprue. Sorry about the camera shaking. I'm trying to, well, I'll add some nice pictures in, more detailed pictures, so you can see the stretch sprue. That's depicting the actual line. Okay. Then we get to the base of the launcher. We're going to have a cover here, a plastic window. And what I wanted to do was tint it black. In fact, I'm going to do that with the front windows as well. I decided not to do any interior detail, and since that's the case, I want to be able to sort of hide that fact. So I decided I'm going to use black tint, but it's going to show up some of these details inside here, and there should be essentially these scopes here. I believe they're scopes. So I just scratch built some of the basic shapes and just glued them together. I added a rod here and then some little hooks here to help depict the launcher in its proper state. This section here has been added, as well as the gear. All right, and this gear is going to attach, let's see if I have it here, to this gear that I built. All right, and again, I'll show some nice photos so you get a more detailed look. But these will essentially go together and depict more properly the gears of the vehicle. Just for comparison's sake, I wanted to show you, this is what they gave me in the kit, which looks nothing like the actual vehicle compared to what I built. Okay, so yeah, that's just a bit of a rundown. This is where we're at with the vehicle so far. I just wanted to give you an update. If I just have a few more steps here, and then we're going to be ready for the paint, and that should take us into our next video. So thank you so much for watching. Please do hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when future videos come up, and thank you so much for joining me. Take care.